Welcome to Inside Ministry, Episode 2. It's a live program that highlights the people and the partners of the Continuing Communion and explores how their ministries are impacting the communities that they touch and the world around them. By God's grace, we trust we've overcome last week's technical challenges, and we're looking forward to a great program this evening. We have got 3 goals for this program. First is to encourage you with stories of the CEEC ministry in action. Second is to equip you, both by giving you a first-hand look at how others are fulfilling their calling, and by providing a platform where you can ask your questions and learn new answers. And third, to engage you in the life of the Continuing Communion by building relationships with folks connected to the CEEC from all over the world. I'm Bishop Robert. I'm your host for tonight's program. And tonight, we're going to encourage, equip, and engage you by introducing you to Bishop Misael Carmenates. He fled Cuba in September of 1994 at the age of 17, and he became a U.S. citizen 10 years later. Today, Bishop Misael leads the Order of St. Benedict with its monastery in Highaleah, Florida. He is a monk. He's an accountant. He holds a master's degree in sacramental theology, and like most of us in the Continuing Communion, he's bivocational. But not many of us have a story like his and his team in Miami. And as you're about to see, Bishop Misael has pretty much become the CEEC version of Mother Teresa. Now, during the interview, add your thoughts and reactions to the chat window, and make sure to add your questions too, because during the latter portion of the program, we're going to share them with Bishop Misael, and we're going to get his responses. So Bishop Misael, welcome to Inside Ministry, and we're glad to have you with us.
Hello, Bishop Robert. This is a blessing to be with you tonight. I give thanks to God because they give us the opportunity to be here tonight before last week's event. I give thanks to the Lord, thanks to you, and thanks to Bishop Jared that is behind the scenes trying to get everything running. I give you thanks to every single one who is watching this video also, and a blessing to you all.
Bishop, the first thing I want to say is a monk. I mean, I'll bet there are people in the CEEC that never knew we had monks in the CEEC. Do you ever hear, wow, I didn't know we had monks, or hear comments like that from our CEEC family?
Yes, the first time when I get to the CEEC dressing as a monk, it was like a capital O. Everybody saying, "Whoa, a monk? What is that?" And then I tell them, "Well, week 6 in every single millennium, but nobody sees us because that is our work from the hiding places."
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I really would like to start off with 2 questions, how and why. So, first of all, tell us, how is being a monk different from being a non-monk, priest, or bishop?
Well, when I become a priest, it was really getting distracted for all the things that we, as a priest, we have to take care of the church. We have to take care if we have money for repair the roof. We have to be all the time with people. More concentrated in a work that is not really what I want to do. What I want to do is have the freedom to have a meditation, to be close to the people, more like Padre Pio or China, separated from the world, live in the world, suffer with it, but trying to pray for resistance for all mankind, no matter position, no matter religion, no matter gender. But sometimes the difficulties that we have as a regular priest, as a diocesan priest, is not the same as when you are a monk. You are more dedicated and you have to comply with the rules in this case of San Benedict, and comply with the 7 time prayers. Sometimes if you run the church, you can because you can.
So you talk about the 7 time periods and some of the daily things of being a monk, and we're going to get to that because I want to ask some questions about how the life of a monk allows more time for prayer, more time for ministry. But I want to go back to the beginning a little bit. You left Cuba in 1994. You were 17, right?
I was 16 years old.
16. Okay. Tell us a little bit
16.
about that journey. Tell us how you came to leave, where you went, how you came to the United States.
Well, in 1994, I was really frustrated. I go to the church every single week. I They don't allow me to go to the university because I go to the church. So I really have hungry. I I don't have anything to dress. I really live in extreme poverty, without shoes, without
Hmm.
clothes, without soap, without even toothpaste.
Hmm.
I suffered so much with the age of 16 that I decided to get in front of my worst nightmare, getting to the sea and maybe be eaten by a shark. I told my father what I want to do. He is a fisherman, and he decided to bring me outside of Cuba. He take my mom, my other sisters, and we left Cuba in September 7, 1994, going to Cayman Island. After 6 months in Cayman Island, being processed by the England government, we go to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to get processed for 3 more months. And after that, I came to the U.S. But we don't have family, we don't have anybody here to take care of us. And we were located in Syracuse, New York, where I finished my high school,
Mm-hmm.
and where after a period of time we run out of the cold weather and coming to Miami.
Hmm. So was it very scary for you to go back to Cuba, to Guantanamo Bay, after you had escaped?
Well, every single day in Cayman Island, they tell us, you're going back to Cuba. We don't want you here.
Hmm.
Guantanamo Bay, Cayman Island, it was a miracle island. We met there Father Nash, who was the one who told to the government. He also a priest, Roman Catholic priest, who baptized me on that island, because we decide if they send us back to Cuba, we decide to get our boat and get to the sea again.
Hmm.
And he was afraid maybe if we die during the in the sea, and he baptized us because he was scared of that moment. But thanks God, we go to Guantanamo, wet process, and came here to the U.S. after that.
Hmm. So, like most of the CEC clergy I mentioned earlier, you're bivocational. You became an accountant. Uh, I think it was in 2013. Here's a picture of you. You're working in your accounting office. This is taking care of a client, and I understand that this is how you're supporting the ministry, correct? Oh, 1 second, Bishop. I need to give you audio. There we go. Go ahead.
Yes, this is strange. See, when people come to an accountant and get in touch with Uncle Sam through a monk.
Hmm.
So sometimes people go to an accountant because they need to file their taxes, But in here in Miami, we have a little problem that many people who don't have the possibilities to pay an accountant to help the others
Mm-hmm.
to tell them what to do in different situations with the accounting problems.
Mm-hmm.
Latin communities are not really quite involved in how to pay taxes, how to file taxes. We came here like we are in a different world because in Cuba, like we are not paying taxes.
Right.
So when we came here, we are like an alien because we are not we don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's happening in this picture with all of these boxes?
All these boxes, sometimes when we prepare donations, we have little boxes donated like you see on these pictures, and then we put everything inside. We put pastries, we put the food, we put the pork, we put maybe fruits,
Mm.
everything for a complete meal for a person that is in that box.
And there's always work outside the monastery to do. Here you're fixing something. I can tell this was electricity, right?
Yes, thanks God that I don't blow up.
Yeah. Now, what does an average day look like? You're a Benedictine monk. What does an average day look like for you? You talked about the 7 times of prayer. Give us an average day.
Yeah, more or less, we break that schedule every time because we have food to go to the streets. We break the schedule and go to the streets. But
Mm-hmm.
if not, what you saw on that picture was on a Sunday. Sunday afternoon after mass, we have a free time, and that free time we use it for fix the home, to cut the grass. Maybe if you go want to go to bicycle or go to the beach, like but normally we use it to go to visit the poor or fix something in the house that we have to do. But
Mm-hmm.
during the day, we wake up at 6 a.m. We go to the bathroom. After that, at 7, we have to comply with the mass, loud prayers, and tercia. At 8, we have to comply, go to the sacrament, and the oratory, an hour of contemplativa.
Contemplative prayer.
Yes. At 9, breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And at 10, go to the office to work. At 1, you have to return to at 12, you have to go to pray the rosary. We have to comply the rosary every single day. And at 1, return to office.
Mm-hmm.
At 2, we have lunch. We have lunch at 2 because we have only one lunch a day.
Mm-hmm.
At 3, Eucharistic adoration. At 3:30, work again. At 6, we pray Vésperas. 6:30, go to the office to finish any work that we have pending.
Or do a television
2:30,
program.
or do a television program. At 8, we have a coffee or a snack or something like that to sustain ourselves. At 10 p.m., we have to complete our late hour, what we
Mm-hmm.
call complete prayers, and a reading of a chapter of our rule. We have to read a rule every single day, a chapter a day.
Tell us
And
about the rule of
11,
Saint Benedict.
yes, the rule of Saint Benedict was created by Saint Benedict before he died in 547. He created that rule because he wanted a spiritual lifestyle for his monks,
Mm-hmm.
and a schedule, a code of ethics that you have to follow that rule completely 100% if you want to have a spiritual life completely sane. If you want to get really close to God in prayers, in work, and give us our theme, the ora et labora. We have to comply with that. Pray
Ora,
and work.
ora et labora, pray and
Ora
work.
and work and work.
Now, this sounds to some people who are listening, I'm sure, almost like a works-based salvation, that you have to do all these things, but you're not doing these things so you get saved. You're doing these things so they're focusing you on ministry and equipping you to be more prepared for ministry. Is that correct?
Yes. Every single job that we do daily, every single step forward that we do with work, not because we are concentrated in work, you are not praying. You
Mm-hmm.
have to keep praying during the work. And if you're praying, you have to focus in God only.
Mm.
But if you work, you have to comply also, keep God in your mind that everything that you do, everything that you work for is because God wants you to do this.
Mm. This reminds me of the book that I've read, The Practice of the Presence of God, with Brother Lawrence. And he, speaking about even working in the kitchen and cooking, how he kept God in his heart, how he focused on God, and everything that he was doing was there to be part of serving God. This sounds like the goal that you're working for as Benedictine monks down in Miami.
Yes, transform your work in prayers. If you do your work praying, thinking in God, the work is not harder because work is telling you what to do, and because you're working toward God, not because you need the money. We need
Mm-hmm.
the money as a monastery because we have to sustain ourselves. We are not living from the money of our brothers or sisters. We don't ask money from anybody. We have to sustain ourselves. That is the life of a real monk.
So all of the work that you and Father Luis do down in the monastery in Miami supports the cost of the monastery, supports the cost of the upkeep, and also supports the ministry that you do in the streets every week. So, but you're doing so much, so many things. How are you able to utilize all those funds and do all the work?
Eh, I don't know. I, I, I tell you, I don't know. Because we wake up so early, we do so
Mm-hmm.
much. Uh, I'm telling you, I never asked to anybody for a penny.
Mm-hmm. And
Never.
yet,
We
people
ask,
are bringing so many things by to you. Here,
yes,
as we start to look at the work that is getting ready, where you're getting ready to go out to the streets. Um, let's see. Yes, this is getting working out in the streets. Let's talk about that a little bit because you're out there. Um, so many. How many days a week are you guys out in the street handing out food?
okay. Sometime before this catastrophe of the coronavirus, we go to the streets only 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. But different churches from different religions cover us in different days. But now with the coronavirus, we have a problem. Nobody is going to the streets, and we try to go the more time we can,
Mm.
even 4 times, because they don't have place to wash themselves. They don't have clothes. They don't have
Mm.
food because the pandemic. Miami-Dade closed all the water supplies for the tourists, and then we have to bring water to them also. So
Mm.
that's why in this time it's more difficult than ever because we are going more than ever.
And so you're actually out there 3 days a week now, and you're handing out food. You're handing out hot meals. Um, I'm going to put up some video here of some of the food that you guys have been preparing. You loading down your vehicle with hot meals, and what else is going in there?
Yeah, before, like I tell you, people helping us, getting the water, getting the pastries, some of them separated. But now, with this pandemic, we try to put everything inside a bag because it's more faster, it's better for the homeless, better for us that we have to protect ourselves also, keep
Mm-hmm.
the distance, and we put everything inside. But believe me, without the people who help us, this is cannot be because we're doing so much. We are only the instrument of all other people who help us to do.
Mm. Yeah, I see you here next to stacks of bottles of water and the pastries that you buy, and let's take a look. I want to put up some pictures of some of the things that you are doing on the streets. I'm going to throw them over here because some of these pictures are just amazing to see. Um, when you're going out and giving out meals, how many meals are you serving in an average day? We got
An
some
average day, like 150 to 200.
150 to 200 meals a day, and those are hot meals. You cook them,
Yes, hot meal.
you
No,
pack them up.
yes, because people cook for us. I
Oh,
don't even
wow.
know how to cook.
And then
uh,
I see here also your van is loaded down with clothing. And before we started the program, you and I were talking about Father Luis is out there sorting through boxes and bags of clothing. You get 3, 4, 5 boxes and bags, large boxes and bags of clothing every week, and those have to be sorted before you can distribute them. What are you sorting? What do you bring out to the streets?
yeah, all the people who know us know that I call the seat in front of our house the a little seat of the miracles, the miracle
Mm,
seat. Because every time that I came home, every time that I open the door, I see that the seat is full of water, full of clothes. We have to load that van full of classify all the t-shirts, the
mm,
shirts, the pants, the shoes, the shorts, because when we go to the streets, the van look like a flea market, but it's easy for me when they ask, give me a large T-shirt, give me a medium T-shirt. I have everything separated to give it to them.
wow.
For them, it's really amazing that we're doing this because they never saw before. That picture that you have is Macy's on the downtown Miami.
Mm. Tell me what that's like out there.
They need us. Uh, they most of the time they don't. They get the food, but they need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
They are people hungry of faith,
Mm.
hungry to to see a person who's take care of them, tending the hand. Please, can I help you in something?
Mm-hmm.
Can I bring you something next week? And they say, Father, I need a shoes size 8, size 13. Uh, I need a t-shirt. Can you please bring me next week a backpack? And I have a note of everything.
Mm. And you source these items out and then you bring them to them.
Yes.
So we have to just take a look at what this distribution looks like because you pull your van up and people are coming over. Talk to us about what's going on here.
Okay, that is a flea market. You see that I giving the clothes to the people because
Yes.
they asking me for sizes. I'm telling them, please keep separate. You have to keep the distance.
Uh-huh.
But they are smiling. They know me for more than 5 years. They know what we are doing. They are not afraid of us.
Mm-hmm.
They get in touch with us. They hug you. They kiss you. sometimes I kick them with a belt uh, to have fun.
Mm.
And they feel close to us. They don't see us like, okay, you are there, I'm here. No, we are part of them because they are our life.
Was it like
If you
that in the
want to see
beginning?
pictures,
When you first started going out, how were you received by those people, and how has that changed? We've been asked that question by one of the people who is viewing.
listen, people on the streets are out of hope. Hope is a really amazing thing that you can bring to a person. You have to fight against the evil because if you bring hope to a person on the streets, that person on the streets can stand up again,
Mm-hmm.
start working, and start a new life. I have people who have been rehabilitated from drugs, from being on the streets, and 2 or 3 years after that, they call me, Father, I'm on and I want to help you because I was on the street and you feed me.
Wow.
2 years ago or 3 years ago, and that is amazing.
You know, my mind is brought back to Matthew 25, where Jesus says, "I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink." You know, I'm looking at a picture. You know, it's interesting to look at pictures of people handing out clothes, pictures of people handing out food, but sometimes you get a picture that just really speaks to your heart. And here's a woman who looks like she's probably in her 60s or 70s or maybe even older, and there's Father Luis just ministering to her. Uh, You talked about people needing someone to talk to, someone to speak with them. Talk to us about this a little bit, please.
Yeah, in this case, this lady called Carmen, she's from Puerto Rico. She lost a little bit her mind and get lost. Father Luis is every week telling her, please give me the documents or how I contact your family. Until
Mm.
like 3 or 4 weeks after that, we contact their families. We contact her son, and he's already home. She's already home, really happy. We have people suffering on the streets because sometimes this country, if you don't work, you go to the streets.
Mm.
On this pandemic, we have duplicated the people who live on the streets. We are much more hungry people out there.
You look pretty
That
tired in
picture
this
of me,
picture.
I want to die on that picture.
How long had you been out in the streets working that night? You look exhausted.
Like 5 hours. Normally, we go out at 8, and sometimes it's 2 a.m., and we are still out.
Wow. Wow. And you've been doing this for, well, since what, 2015?
Yes,
So
5 years.
5 years. 5 years.
Yes.
And are weekends different?
No. Believe me, if we have meals, if we have food, and we have clothes, we go to the street no matter what day it is. For
Mm-hmm.
pandemic or weekends, no matter, because the stomach is still in the same place.
Yes. So there I see the van in the background. I see boxes of clothes and bags of clothes, and there you're sorting more clothes. And where does the clothing come from?
All the people we know and the people that we met during the 5 years, I tell them, please don't throw away the clothes.
Mm.
Uh, Go to your closet and search how much clothes you have that you don't put on in 6 months. Give it to me. Don't wait that you work. Don't wait for lost weight because you're not gonna lose any weight. Give it to me. And then they gave it to me, and I'm happy to bring it to the streets.
Well, that's great. And we've got questions coming in from people. Bishop Jared is carefully taking them and sending them to me, and I'm receiving them. We're going to get to some of these questions in a minute. But I want to talk with you about vocations. Now, I want the people who are watching the program to listen very carefully. I didn't say vacations. I'm talking about vocations. I'm talking about people who decide they want to live this kind of an ordered life. We've got Father Roger up in Canada. He's a Benedictine monk working up in Canada. We have you and Father Luis in Highaleah. Just in the past couple of weeks, you and I have been speaking with an oblate who wants to become a monk up in Washington State. Walk us through the process, Bishop. If somebody says, I want to consider becoming a monk, what does that process look like?
Okay, they comes for a month inside to live with us our lifestyle, to live like one of us. We have to read the rule every single day to them to know that is the lifestyle that you want to follow. If you're not, I don't hear you, Bishop.
I said they do that for 1 month.
For 1 month. After 1 month, if they want to continue, and then they are a vocational, because they want to live the lifestyle of an Benedictine community. Mm-hmm. But they have to comply with all the studies, like a regular priest, if they want to become a priest. Maybe mm-hmm. they want to stay as a brother. Mm-hmm. But they have to comply with all the studies, the 7 years, comply with all, they have to finish the theology, the philosophy, and everything is done.
Mm-hmm. So can lay people be involved in the order as well, or is it only for people with orders?
No, lay people. Without lay people, we don't do anything. Mm-hmm. Now we have a bunch of lay people who help us to do the ministry. Without them, we are nothing.
I'm thinking of the Franciscans. They have their primary. Say again?
They're like oblates.
They're like oblates. And how would you describe what an oblate is?
An oblate is a right hand of a Benedictine order. We are here to sustain each other. We have to comply every single month with a retreat, prayers, what we're going to do next month, what we have to do as an order, because they are part of our order. And lay people are part of our order. They are not integrated living inside of the monastery, but they are part of us.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's what I was thinking, because I was thinking of Franciscans and how Franciscans, they have the brothers, they have the priests, but there's also the third order, I think they call it.
Yeah, the third order. In our case, we call oblates.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have been serving as a monk. You are a priest. You are a bishop in the CEEC. You're the abbot of our order. But somebody is asking, why did you choose to become a monk instead of just serving as a parish priest?
That is what I said in the beginning, because I want to be more close to the people. I want to dedicate myself more to prayers. When I become a priest and they put me in charge of the parish, I see myself as like an office priest. But I don't want to be an office priest. I want to serve the people. I want to be with the poor. I want to be like Mother Teresa of Calcutta, outside on the streets. I want to be with the people on pain, because everybody's looking up to find God, and God is not up. It's on the floor. It's underneath.
He has hands and feet here on the planet.
Yes, is suffering on the floor, and we are keeping looking the God on the top, and not God's on in our knees.
Let me talk
That's
a
why
little
I
bit.
decided to do it. And, yeah,
Mhm. Let me talk a little bit more about suffering because not only are you involved with helping these people, many of the people coming to you for accounting are not paying. You're providing your services for free. You're going out on the streets 2, 3, 4 nights a week. You're giving out food, giving out clothing. But you've also been involved with children with cancer for many years. For about 20 years, you've been working with the Ronald McDonald House in Miami. Can you tell us a bit about that, please?
yes, Ronald McDonald House is a difficult place to visit because you see Jesus suffering in the face of a child.
Mm,
Uh, when you go to that place and you see all the little kids with all the parents, uh, that breaks your heart, and you only can bring them support with prayers, support with money to the families, uh, where a place to stay because sometimes they pay for the child treatment, but not for the parents being there.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
sometimes it's very difficult. On Christmas, we go to all the gifts, try to play some music, change a little bit the frame that they are with this treatment. It's
mm-hmm.
also like San Jude.
And you also have the opportunity to give them some religious teaching while you're there from time to time. Some
Yes,
talks.
we you talk just dressing like me. You're not even need to talk when you're dressing like a monk because
Mm-hmm.
they are asking you, are you? They don't even know what you are. Are you a magician? Are you a monk? Because yeah, the mind of the child is completely different as the mind of adults, and it's really funny how they, hey, come here, what is that funny dress that you have on, and then you have the moment to explain what we're doing.
Well, I know we have one of our priests who's watching the program now, and he leads we have an outreach ministry to people who are focused and enjoying Star Wars and those sorts of things. And he said, I'm sure he's thinking you look like a Jedi master with all of your habit and your robes. So you may have a new oblate coming. Who knows?
Yeah,
Tell us about some.
believe
I
me,
mean,
i- in Cuba, it's not a funny thing wearing this with this uh, weather.
I'll bet it's warm. I'll bet about mid-July it gets nice and warm out there in Miami.
Jesus help me.
Uh, we have a few questions coming in, and folks, as you're watching, I encourage you to go ahead and add any questions into the chat if you'd like. We're going to get to them in just a couple of minutes. But but aside from the accounting, and aside from the clothing work, and aside from the feeding, and aside from the work with the homeless, and aside from working with the Ronald McDonald House, you're also participating in a Madre Amantisima mission.
Amantísima.
Matis, tell us about that mission because you're there celebrating Mass and doing teaching catechism.
Yes, that was a mission that we start on the late 2014 in Hollywood, Florida. When it's a place where everybody is praying the rosary, they don't have a minister to follow to teach them the mass, to tell them to read the scriptures. So we start visiting them, and after 2 or 3 months, we create a really good uh, ministry there.
Mm,
Mass celebrated for more than 150 people.
mm,
Uh, People coming to feel the presence of the Lord, feeling the presence because we pray, we love, we stay each other after the mass. we encourage people to be together, to pray for each one of us, to help one another, and that is a really wonderful work that we do in Hollywood, Florida.
Hmm. And even further south from Hollywood, which is near you, in Mexico, you're involved in helping finance the building of churches.
Yeah, Mexico is a very difficult place. We have there Bishop Jorge, who feeding
Mm-hmm.
the people on the dump place. That break your heart how you see all these kids feeding themselves from the dump place. Uh, we went in Colombia, Medellin, where relocated people from the guerrillas stay on the hill of the mountains,
Mm.
living there without shelter, without food, without anything. It was really scary when I went there the first time because uh, I didn't know that the guerrillas is still there, and they watching me with the guns and everything. I was really scared, and I tell the father there, please, can you tell me what is going on? And he tell me, this is kids with a really big gun to kill you because you're not part of us. And I talked to them, and they know I'm there to feeding them, to
Mm.
protect them, to tell them the word of the Lord, not to fight against them. I don't want to fight to anybody. I want to be part of the people because I want to the people feel safe where they are. I want to people feel hope. And when you get a person hope and uh, what they can receive in a prayer, that is a sword with a double side.
Mm-hmm.
They can defend themselves.
But you're also involved in church planting in Colombia, in the Bahamas, Grand Caymans.
Yes, every time that we have funds, we send uh, to people who need us. I don't, I don't, I don't really care much what they are. They are minister to trying to teach the word of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we focus ourselves uh, because you are a Pentecostal, you are a Presbyterian, you are a Roman Catholic priest, but our way, our province of reconciliation was a teaching from Pope Francis with his friend
Mm-hmm. Bishop Tony.
and Tony Palmer. Tony Palmer led us before he passed away. The teaching of we are one. We are just one member of the body of Christ. We
Yes.
maybe not we are not on the same boat, but we are on the same lake,
Mm-hmm.
heading to the same place.
We have a question from someone asking about the spiritual formation. Uh, you were talking about 7 years of studies. How are these studies overseen? What is the process of formation there?
Yeah, the process start well. We have to the person who come to the monastery first after that month, he has to comply with all the prayers. He has to comply not much in working. He has to comply with the studies. He has to comply all the studies with third millennium. Third millennium is the basic study for all religion.
Mm-hmm.
After that, he has to finish a complete master in theology and divinity because we need a prepared person to be focused on this ministry. I don't want any, if you are not able to study it and you want to keep yourself as a brother, perfect. But if you can study it and you can prepare yourself, it's better for every single person
Mm-hmm.
because you can lead another person to do the same.
Right. Now, you mentioned Third Millennium. I just want to clarify a little bit. There's an organization that has taken seminary level training and put it available online, providing it to Christians and Christian ministry for free. And it's at thirdmillennium.org. And so you don't have to be a Benedictine monk. You don't have to be part of the CEEC. You can just go to thirdmillennium.org and start going through seminary level training at no cost. And then the other thing you spoke about, Bishop, was the Masters in Theology, and oftentimes that is done through a distance learning program because they're there living in the monastery, building up the work that you're doing there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a distance student.
Right. Going back to the meals that you're giving out, the question has been asked, how are those meals paid for? How are they funded?
The people who help us pay for themselves. We ask always how much you spend on that meal, because we at the end of the year we give them a letter to for their income taxes. But we never ask a person a penny, but we tell them, please, if you want to do a charity, you can do meals, or you can bring water, or you can come with us to feed them. I don't want anything. I don't even want a t-shirt because I always wear the same black t-shirt. That's just kidding. I don't need anything, thanks God. But what I'm asking is food and water for them. That's all. But it's them who doing the thing, not me.
So
If they don't have the money to pay for it, when I it's been a week that I don't have meal, I pay for the meal. Like I go to McDonald's, I buy 150 um, Big Mac, and I give the Big Mac to the person. But I have to bring anything to a person. Not even if it's with my money or without, but I have to bring food to the downtown.
Bishop, you're probably the only person I know who has ever gone to McDonald's and ordered 150 Big Macs. So I wish I had video of that to put up on the program screen and show folks. So you've got people who are bringing food donations, people who are cooking food, but what about somebody who's up in Michigan or North Carolina or Virginia, or can they help? Can they send money to help pay for food?
Yeah, sure, they can. They can make sure that all that money is going to be used more than in water, because we bring, like, if you see 100 persons, is 300 bottles of water, because in this time we're giving 2 bottles of water with every single meal. So every time that $5 come to me, in my mind is 50 waters. That's all. That is what I come in my mind. 50 waters.
Right. Well, somebody specifically asked how they could help financially, and so just to walk through the process, you can go to CEEC.CHURCH, click on the Give button, and in the giving area, just put down Monks in Miami, and 100% of those gifts get sent directly down to Miami, so Father Luis and Bishop Misael can use them for the food ministry. How do you and Father Luis measure your impact in Miami? How do you see the fruit?
The fruit, you never see the fruit because you only see the satisfaction of the people who are hungry and right away wake up and start eating. I don't want to tell anybody. If you see the news, we went on the news like 2 weeks ago, but I don't want that. I don't want to be an impact in a city, because I want to work high from the society. I want to do the hard work without anybody knows that what I'm doing, because I'm not doing to get a position. I don't do it to like here. Sometimes the city of Miami call me, can you come because we want to give you a certificate. I don't want that.
Mm.
If you want to give me a certificate, give me a pallet of water and I'll give it to the homeless. I don't looking for a position. I'm looking for how to fit and how to resolve a problem of a person that is suffering, that is feel himself miserable on the eyes of the others.
Mm.
Sometimes we judge because sometimes we this is he want $1 for a drug. He want he's a drug dealer. I don't want to give them any kind of meals.
Mm-hmm.
But the person knows the reaction of a person is that we always have something to say before doing a charity.
Mm.
We cannot measure or put something in front of a charity. Do the charity and don't look to whom you're doing the charity. Do it.
Mm.
Don't judge because you are not there to judge. You are there to help. Sometimes I'm going to feed the homeless and I see them with a glass of beer. And they try to hide the beer from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, don't hide the beer because if I was on the same position that you are, I was drinking the beer too. Yes, it's realistic. You are part of the world. You are not outside of the world. You are a human being.
Mm-hmm.
You are not capable or know what is in the mind of the homeless.
And yet you're out there with Father Luis day after day, feeding, holding their hands, praying with them, even in the midst of this coronavirus, still out there and still taking care for them.
Yes, it's our place.
Let me,
It's what call. It's our call in front of God, and it's our duty. Believe me, when I decide to be a monk, and they put me uh, a sukara, but it was black. This means to me a server, a
mm-hmm.
servant,
Amen.
a needle crown. It's not a crown because you are a king. It's a crown because you are a servant.
Yes. Yes. I want you to think, I want you to run the clock forward in your mind 5 years, 10 years. What is your dream for the ministry? What do you hope the Lord will do with the order?
Well, I always hope, and also sometimes I call Miami-Dade to see if they have a space uh, to stabilize a place to feed the homeless, because I think that is not enough what they're doing. I feel that I can do a little. Sometimes, like Mother Teresa of Calcutta said, sometimes I feel that like I do is a drop of water on the ocean, but that ocean is not the ocean without that drop of water.
Mm.
We have to help the others, and my way to see things is maybe someday, if I have a place, I put a feeding place for the homeless.
Amazing. Bishop Misael, the work that you and Father Luis are doing down in Miami is the work of God. You are the hands and feet of Christ to these people, and we're so blessed to have you giving us this example of service. And I want to say thank you. It's been such a joy over the last several years getting to know you and getting to know Father Luis. But I know that the CEC is a better place for you having shared this tonight, so people can hear about this service and be encouraged that people can be touched by anyone. And so just thank you for taking the time to come this evening. Thank you for sharing your heart, your ministry, and for sharing what you're doing in Miami. You and Luis, you're the monks of Miami. You're making a big difference in that city.
Thank you. But I'm the one who gives thanks to the Lord because I have a really wonderful person that is you, a superior that is there every time that we call. Uh, my bishops, my superiors are not my superiors, are my brothers. They are the person who I can call anytime that is there with me. We treat ourselves as a brother and
Mm.
not like you have to do what I have to tell you to do. We treat ourselves as a family. The CEEC is a
Yes,
family.
it is a family.
Is a family, and I give thanks to God to be part of this family. I give thanks to you, to Bishop Travis, to Bishop Scott, that is my father, also to Bishop Gerard, that now is running all this program, and he's hiding himself.
Well, again, thank you, Bishop. I apologize for coughing there. I had my finger on the wrong button, so I couldn't hit the cough button. But I thank you for coming in. I just want to mention to you that this has been our second episode. The goal is to do 10 episodes and then take a break, and then to come back and possibly do some others. I want to let you know that next week we have got an amazing, amazing program coming up. You're not going to believe it. It's going to be coming to us live from Jerusalem. Deacon Aaron Aimee has been a friend of mine for years and years, since 2012, when I was spending 6 months a year in Israel. We were working involved together in different projects in Israel, helping one another at CHURCH, and he is going to talk to you about crossing boundaries. When you're living in one of the most challenging cities in the world, when you're living in a place where there's Arabs and Jews and Christians and some people who think they're some but they aren't, and how do you impact that city? How do you impact the world from Jerusalem? Because the world comes to Jerusalem, and people in Jerusalem get a chance to touch those lives. But it's very, very challenging because there are boundaries there that are you've got to know how to cross them. And Aaron is going to talk to us about successful ministry in Israel and crossing boundaries and being able to reach into people's lives, Arabs, Jews, and Christians, and making a difference. And I want to tell you, you don't want to miss this, because things that Aaron does in Israel are going to blow your mind. And the insights that he's been able to gather from there and the things that he does are just, you're going to be amazed. And don't miss the program. Set an alarm on your clock. Set your DVR. Set whichever you've got to do. I don't know if you can do a DVR with Facebook, but you don't want to miss this program. So I want to encourage you. I want to thank you. I want to let you know that the CEC is here to help you, to encourage you, and to walk with you. And I want to encourage you to step out, press on, and take hold of that for which Christ Jesus took hold of you. And God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Inside Ministry.